Yo, yo, yo! Welcome back to the MMA Short Show. As always, your boy, Steven Moustaris. And today I will be sitting here trying to predict who will dethrone every current UFC champion. So with that being said, let's get straight into it. Let's start off with the heavyweight division. You know, I think most people could probably agree when it comes to the title picture, this has been one of the most poorly managed divisions we have witnessed in forever. And if I'd have done this video a couple months ago, you know, we would be sitting here saying, oh, Jon Jones is going to retire after the Stipe fight. It's all going to be Tom Aspinall versus whoever at that rate. But since Jon Jones went out there and put on one of the greatest performances ever against Stipe, of course he's willing to stay there and come back and fight one more time. And luckily for us fans who want this fight very badly, and although the division sucks, this is the number one fight the UFC can make right now. Tom Aspinall, Jon Jones, and thankfully Ciryl Gane and Volkov went out there and put on a poop show, and more so Ciryl Gane. I thought Volkov looked good, but Ciryl Gane, the one guy that could probably make any splash when it came to Tom Aspinall, that's out the window. Nobody wants to talk about that anymore. So luckily now it's Jon Jones and Tom Aspinall. And if we have to wait till the summertime, cool. But regardless of how they get this job done, it's an easy answer. You're either a Jon Jones fan or you're a Tom Aspinall fan. Me personally, I'm a Jon Jones guy. I'm picking Jon Jones. I've stuck with him since day one. And I think most people probably jump back on the Jon Jones train after that whole performance against Stipe. But to be fair, Tom Aspinall is in his prime. Stipe is way out of it. So it is going to be a fun match. But here's where the problem is with the heavyweight division. Me personally, I got Jon Jones winning, but he's probably going to retire or at least let the belt go. And we might only see him fight again if it's an Alex Pereira super fight, or maybe a Francis Ngannou, if Turkish, whatever that dude's name is, the Saudi Arabian dude that's making all these fights happen, the billionaire. Outside of that, man, it's going to be stuck with Tom Aspinall. And if we really look at the heavyweight division, the future of it looks terrible. If Jon Jones goes out there and beats Tom Aspinall, which is probably the worst case scenario for the UFC, regardless if he wins and he goes out and retires, who's going to fight next? It's got to be Tom Aspinall. So no matter how you answer it, Tom Aspinall is going to be the one defending this UFC heavyweight belt for the long term. And it's just who you going to throw in there with? Ciryl Gane? No. Nobody wants to see that. Volkov? He's already beat him. What, we want to see Curtis Blades again? We've already witnessed it. Sergey Pavlovich? No. We've already witnessed how that goes. Like, who are you going to throw in there? Tai Tuivasa? Derek Lewis? Like, the heavyweight division here in the next few months or the next year, as soon as they can get this Jon Jones and Tom Aspinall fight, although that's the biggest fight in the UFC, the aftermath is going to be terrible because you're losing Jon Jones no matter what, and you're either going to have Tom Aspinall as undefeated and this big guy, but he has nobody to fight, or he's coming off a loss, and we're just going to know him as Jon Jones' little girl. So it's tough, man. I just don't see who they're going to have fight. Jailton Almeida? Like, I'm sorry. He's not going to do anything against a Jon Jones or a Tom Aspinall who are that big. Like, come on, man. I'm scared for the heavyweight division here soon, but my answer, easily Jon Jones winning, but he's going to retire, so I guess that's who takes it from him, and it's going to be, at the end of the day, it's going to be Tom Aspinall. You can't give the belt to anybody else after that. He's got to have to fight somebody. You can't have Ciryl Gane versus Curtis Blades for the belt. It's just not happening. So, easy answer. So let's go to the light heavyweight. Let's go to Alex Pereira, who, fighter of the year, well-deserved. It's either between him or Ilia Topuria. It's up to you. It depends how you feel. But this man, Alex Pereira, coming out in here, saving the day. And this one, I did this video 4 months ago, and my answer is going to stay the same. I did pick Magomed Ankalaev to be the one that, does dethrone him. But I also did, to be fair, I did full disclosure. I did say that this man, Khalil Roundtree, had a solid shot before their fight, and he did go out there and perform very well. But Alex Pereira just went out there and took him out. But just the effort attitude that Khalil Roundtree has, the willingness to just brawl with this man, Alex Pereira, that's what's going to happen. That's what's going to need to happen to take this man out, unless you can grapple him, which is why I think I'm picking Magomed Ankalaev. But we got to be honest here, man. If he goes out there and takes Magomed Ankalaev out, who else is there at light heavyweight? He's going to have to go up to heavyweight and either make a crazy fight with Jon Jones or a crazy fight with Tom Aspinall. There's no other fight unless he wants to go back down and fight Dricus. I mean, that might be the other one, but I think as his age, for the money, he's going to want to fight Tom Aspinall or Jon Jones. I mean, I think that's what the fans are going to want too. So I think Magomed gets it done. To be fair, that's my clear answer. But if this man, Alex Pereira, is a devil advocate here, if this man, Pereira, goes out there and wins and takes Magomed out, who's next? Who's next? There's nobody at light heavyweights. He's already taken out Yuri. He's already taken out Jamal. He's already taken out Jan. He's already taken out Khalil. He's already, what, they might be able to throw a Carlos Olberg fight in there if he can continue to do his thing and have the whole revenge match for Izzy. Like, he's not going to beat Alex Pereira. So most likely Magomed Ankalaev, and if not that, it's going to be just relinquishing the belt to move up to heavyweight or go back down to 185. So, which, speaking of 185, let's go straight into it. Let's go to this man, Dricus Du Plessis. Probably the one champion that I haven't picked at all in any of his fights, but he just somehow continues to win. Takes out this man, Robert Whittaker. Never saw it coming in a day in my life. Goes out there and takes him out with ease. Goes out there and takes out Sean Strickland, who I didn't think he was going to be able to take out. And then goes out there and takes out Izzy, who I also didn't think he would take out. Like, I don't hate Dricus. I think he's great. I just think he gets so wild in these fights and just so out of it. Almost looks like he's not even in his actual like fighting position. It feels like he's just like all of his defense looks like it's out of position. It looks like he's ready to just get countered and dropped on his face, but his size and just strength and his willingness to just do it, it just somehow works for him, and he somehow gets the back with Izzy and makes that fight ugly, and he always going to come out on top. It's crazy, but with that being said, he's got to fight Sean Strickland again, and I just don't see it happening. I don't see a way Sean Strickland wins this fight, and if Dricus goes out there and wins it, it's going to be Khamzat. I'm sick and tired of going up against Khamzat and picking against him, especially after the whole, just watching the Gilbert Burns fight and then watching the whole Kamaru Usman fight. I was like, I'm not that big of a fan. I don't know if he's actually going to be that good. But then he goes out there and breaks Robert Whittaker's jaw, and then you're like, oh yeah, this man, he's that good. He's that good. I think he could take Dricus down and do it. So that's going to be my answer. I got Khamzat Chimaev. And, with this being said, this is actually kind of a perfect, segue here. At 170, Belal Muhammad is the champion currently. Last time I did this video a few months ago, I told you guys straight up, I would have picked Leon Edwards over Belal. So for Belal to be champion, I'm already wrong there. But now that we have Belal and we just saw the whole Shavkat and Ian Gary fight, I still got Belal beating Shavkat. My last pick was Shavkat to take out Belal. But after the Shavkat Ian Gary fight, I'm not that impressed by Shavkat, man. But to be fair, before I start beating up Shavkat and taking him completely out, I was the same boat with Khamzat when it came to the Gilbert Burns and the whole Kamaru Usman fight. And then when he actually gets a chance to go up against Robert Whittaker and, solidify himself as the number one, he goes out there and does it impressively. Probably the most impressively we've ever seen against, somebody like Robert Whittaker. So I'm not going to deny the Shavkat. It's all about, styles always make matchups, man. Ian Gary is so long and so rangy, and he's got great balance that maybe Shavkat can maybe do a little better against somebody shorter like Belal, kind of like we saw with the Jeff Neal fight. Maybe that's what he's better at. But as of right now, I think Belal's pace, I think it's just his willingness to box, how great he's been getting at that, just his pace, his grappling. I think Belal kind of makes it an easy day against Shavkat if it gets into the later rounds. And then at that rate, who are we sitting here saying at that rate at 170? Who do you got? Who are you picking? JDM? No, I don't like it. Who you got? Ian Gary? Maybe. I don't know. I think if Shavkat can take him down like that, I think Belal's pace can ruin it for him. I think the underdog pick here, man, I think it's got to be Carlos Prates, man. I think if this man gets a chance to continue to step in and keep beating these top name guys, I think they're going to be dying to get somebody in there especially if Belal beats Shavkat, they're going to be dying to get anybody to take Belal out and to get this upper class coming in. or this younger class coming in and taking out the older guys. So I think that's going to be my pick, man. I think Belal gets this done. I think he takes out, somebody is like Shavkat. I think he could take out an Usman. I don't even know if Colby Covington or Joaquin Buckley even have a title shot going there. I think he beats both of them. I think Belal beats almost everybody, but I think somebody wild like Michael Morales or Carlos Prates, I think that they can maybe get that done. So that's going to be my pick. I'm going Carlos Prates, and I think that's going to be late next year or maybe early the following year in 2026. Who knows? I think Belal's got this for a while, and I know he's old, but he's just getting better and better. So, you guys shoot me in the face for that one. But let's go to 155, which this one's tough, man. This is the most dominant champion by far right now. Islam Makhachev. I said it last video, and I'm going to stick with this answer, and I'm going to just come out with it easily. Islam Makhachev is not going to lose. He is just going to move up weight classes or retire. He's just going to relinquish the belt. That is who's going to dethrone Islam. To be fair, 4 months ago, he had not fought, Dustin Poirier yet, and I thought DP put on a great performance, and I think Arman Sarukian has all the chance in the world to make it a fun, fight and a close fight. I just don't see it happening, man. I just don't know who's going to be Islam. It's not going to be Michael Chandler. It's not going to, you name him. You name anybody at 155. It's not going to be him. Charles Oliveira, I'm sorry for the Charles fans out there. He's not going to get it done. Justin Gaethje's not going to get it done. Dustin Poirier's not going to get it done. Conor McGregor's not going to come back and get this done. Rafael Fiziev isn't going to get this done. I don't know who it is. And the only person that could possibly do it, and it just doesn't seem like Islam's going to give him another chance at the 145 king. He already did it with Volkov and showed what happened. Maybe Ilia Topuria, maybe that might be a pick. He could come up and fight him. And at this rate, I'm picking Ilia Topuria over anybody, but truly, man, it's gonna be a Khabib situation. This man Islam is just gonna follow out what Khabib was supposed to do, and I think he's gonna go up to 170 as soon as Belal gives it up, and I think he takes over 170. And I truly think that's, or he retires. I think he just gets sick of it and just has all these title defenses. I think they've shown over there that they're willing to just drop it and just walk away from the sport. So I just don't see anybody beating Islam. And you guys let me know if I'm crazy there. So, which takes you into 145. If this man Islam's going to move up and go to 170 or, relinquish the belt, I also don't see a single person touching Ilia Topuria at this rate. Full disclosure again, 4 months ago when I did this video, I picked Max Holloway. I'm a Max Holloway diehard. If you guys go back and watch that video, I was wearing a Max Holloway shirt. So clearly I'm a Max Holloway. He's my number one guy, number two guy behind Jon Jones. I love Max Holloway. This is my man. So of course I'm going to stick with him. But after watching what Topuria did to that man Volkanovski and Max Holloway, I don't see anybody. I truly don't. I know everybody loves Diego Lopez. I just think he's a little too wild. And I think this man, Ilia, picks him apart. Josh Emmett, not going to happen. I'm trying to think. Yair Rodriguez is wild, but I just don't know if he'll even get the title shot. My personal pick, and there was the whole thing I talked about last week before 310, I thought they should have pushed Aljo and Mavzar a lot harder because I think that the grappling, I think that's the only thing that can maybe, take away from Ilia Topuria's rhythm. I think maybe they could get a back for at least 2 or 3 rounds and maybe, eke out a decision. But at this rate, the UFC doesn't even seem like they want Mavzar or Aljo in there. And if it's not going to be them, another answer, I'm sorry to be this way, but I think 145, Ilia Topuria, I think he just relinquishes the belt, moves up to 155. I think that's the only case. I don't think us Americans understand how big this dude Ilia Topuria is when it comes to the overseas or just the popularity in the other towns. Man, I'm telling you, man, it's like Conor McGregor all over again, it feels like. And it seems like Topuria is already talking about going to 155 and doing all these super fights and getting this cheese and getting out of the sport. So don't be shocked, man. I don't see him really caring about all the title defenses, especially after taking out Volkanovski and Max Holloway. You've already taken out, arguably, the 2 goats of the division. Like, what else is there for you? So I think he gives up the belt, and I think he goes up to 155, and I'm sticking with that answer. And I guess, like I said, Mavzar, Aljo is just their control, their grappling talent, maybe. But don't forget, this man Topuria is still a dog, too. So I don't know, man. I just don't see anybody beating him 145. And then 135 to keep this going. Merab Dvalishvili, again, full transparency. I thought that this man, Sugar Sean O'Malley, I thought he was, a chosen one. I feel like we have witnessed this over time when it comes to Jon Joneses, the GSPs, the Anderson Silvas, Ronda Rousey there for a little bit, Amanda Nunes there for a little bit. You got these certain fighters, man, that just seem like they're bigger, like the Islams, Habibs, you can name them, Conor in his prime. There's just certain guys that you watch and you're like, there's just something special about them. I can't tell you what it is. They're gifted by God. I don't know what it is. They just won't lose. And I truly thought Sugar Sean had that feel. And although it was a close fight, he did lose to Merab. So now we're sitting here talking Merab. And I know they got the Umar fight here in a couple weeks. I just think Merab takes care of that, man. I don't know who's going to beat Merab either at 135. I think, all right, this is I'm going to have to pick somebody. So I think Merab beats Umar. And then I think he's going to follow through with what he said and make the Sugar Sean fight happen. And I think Sugar Sean, after what that fight was close. The first one was a lot closer than you would think, but it did feel like real time that Merab was killing this dude. But I think with the experience against him, I think Sugar Sean maybe could get that done next time. I think he'd come in a lot more ready to throw harder and not be so afraid to gas. So I think I'm going Sugar Sean again. Hey, call me a weirdo, call me a bandwagoner. I don't care, man. I think so. It's going to take somebody who can snipe this dude, and it's going to be somebody like Corey Sandhagen or Sugar Sean. And I don't think they're going to go Sugar Sean versus Sandhagen before they go Sugar Sean versus Merab 2 or Sugar Sean versus, Umar. Sugar Sean's the biggest 135 star they've ever had. So I'm going Sugar Sean. I can't believe I'm saying it. I'm going Sugar Sean. And then at 125, this man, Alexander Pantoja, who is probably the most impressive right now, because you expect this out of Islam. Now you expect this out of Ilia Topuria. You expected it out of Jon Jones. Now when it comes to this, like Alexander Pantoja, super, super impressive, man. You know, I would have loved if oh man, I wish that Figgy was still in this. Davison Figueiredo, I would pick him, but he went up to 135 and is looking good up there. But at 125, who do you pick? Amir Albazi? Kai Kara France? I'm sorry. They just gave a guy Kai Asakura a chance who has never even fought for the UFC and got absolutely ragdolled. That's how much, the faith they have in Amir Albazi or Kai Kara France. So at this rate of 125, it's almost like we're right back to where we were when it was Demetrius Mighty Mouse Johnson, when he was just destroying everybody and there was just nobody left. Like Brandon Moreno, I'm sorry, man. I think he's a dog, but we've already witnessed this. How many? 3 times now, I think, with Pantoja? Like, don't write me down for that exactly, but I'm pretty sure it's been 2 at least. But I want to say 3 times. I don't want to see that anymore. Brandon Royval, we've already witnessed it. I don't want to see it, man. So as far as I'm concerned, I think Alexander Pantoja probably gets a few more. It's going to be between retirement or just relinquishing the belt, moving up to 135. I think that's the only way that he loses. And call me crazy, but I just don't see anybody beating him. He's so good. His pace isn't ridiculous. He doesn't have to worry about the one-shot kill at 125, so he's always just pushing you and going through it. I don't think anybody has the pace that he does. So, I mean, at the end of the day, man, I think he relinquishes it again. I hate to throw that many relinquishes or dropping the belt, but these guys are dogs, man. So you guys let me know what you guys think. As always, your boy, Steven Moustaris. And let's go, baby. I can't wait for next year. 2025 is going to be ridiculous. And I'm sure most of these people are going to drop their belts. So you guys let me know what y'all think. And as always, your boy, Steven Moustaris. And let's go.